And I always keep this before I use it. I read the entire instructions every single time. No, I don't really, but I just kept this to show. This is the kind of paper cutter I have. It's a Carl heavy duty rotary paper trimmer DC-210N / etc. It is important because if you look at this cutter that I have, that's an X-Acto. It's a guillotine style. I didn't find that to be very effective at what we're going to be doing, so we'll just skip all that, and then I'll show you the first cut. I'll keep the blade above whatever I'm going to cut. If you keep it here and then you press down, you're going to go right into the paper, and I don't know if that's going to cause any marks or something, but I just don't like to do it. You got to press a little bit hard, but you don't want to press so hard that you're going past your paper. And I'll show you why in a second. All right, because if you look at this, this is the cutting mat, and if you have like a big gouge in this plastic or something, you're not going to get a straight line cut anymore. They ship this with one replacement mat, and then you can flip the mat. But I just don't want to ruin. I think I already pretty much ruined the other side of this one. That's why I've already flipped it. But just be careful with it. So on this rotary trimmer, this green clamp, it actually pushes down across the paper, and anything past that line is supposed to be cut. It's not always perfect, and if you have a bunch of paper like jammed in there, I've seen it sometimes make worse cuts in those cases. And then another thing, and I'll show you that in a minute, but you don't want to make a cut that's smaller than, say, 5 millimeters, just off the top of my head. All right, so this, it's pretty important to be precise, like in this step, like when you're clamping everything, because you don't want pages that are like way off. And also, if I have one page that's like this, and then it gets cut at an angle, I'm going to ruin that whole page potentially. So you want to make sure that you've got everything, you know, tapped down on both axes, if you will, both the top, you know, the bottom part and this side part. This tool will help you push the side part, but what I'll usually do is like get it pretty close to where I want it, and then use this tool, which it's not really meant to be used this way, but it doesn't fit on this side. Just tap it a little bit, and the other side's magnetic, so if you just plop that down, and then you can use your other hand, hold your hand here so that it doesn't go past where you want it to. When you're pushing, you'll kind of feel it go past. Sometimes you go a little too far, potentially, but I'm trying to go to this dotted line actually, so I'm going a little further until I'm just past the dotted line, because I don't want that line to exist on the print once I'm done with this step. So once I clamp it down, you should see a pretty straight line, and if it doesn't look perfectly straight, it's probably because we've already made a cut, and you know, every time we cut this paper, it's getting less and less like perfect as it was manufactured. Just done on that one. These sides, I'm not as careful with, because I'm ultimately going to fold up this all like this, so at some point these edges are going to get cut anyways. As long as you've got like a tight bottom, and then I just kind of do this one by hand pretty much. I'm not quite as careful anymore. Just make sure that the line is straight. I mean, do the same thing you would do with the tool. Make sure that it's straight across on this straight edge. And then I clamp it down. And this cut is going to be the least precise of all because it's the last one, and by now I've lost interest. So if you see your comic book come in the mail and it's like this, it's because it was the last cut. What can I say? Let's see. Okay. Okay, all done. Know how to actually do this. I have a whole huge long video that includes the paper cutter, information about the printer, and the software I use on the Mac, so you can make one of these yourself.